Our galaxy is a cocoon of life. Did you notice the pictures I put up? I tried to put up an array of pictures to show you what our astronomers are showing us on the internet. Those pics help us to understand why we are here and where are we here. We know we are on a planet called Earth, in one of the many solar systems in the Milky Way galaxy. We can truly say we are citizens of the Milky Way and will always be. The picture I want to draw your attention to is the last one. It might remind you of a football in the way it is shaped. That picture came from scientists that mapped out our galaxy with the imaging program. Let's show that picture again. Have a look. That, my friends, is our cocoon of life. That cocoon is made by the big guy in charge, and it's him that nurses everything in the cocoon. That should show you just how smart we have gotten as beings with a mind, created by the one that holds the whole cocoon together, and he doesn't charge you anything. In the Egyptian writing called the Book of Life, it explains very well who God is and shows us his personality. Let's look at it. The Egyptian writing shows that God is one and alone and that none other exists with him. He existed when nothing else had being. Yet he is hidden from both gods and men. He is Father of the gods and men. God is one and alone, and none other exists with him. God is the one who has made all things. God is a spirit, a hidden spirit, the spirit of spirits, the great spirit of the Egyptians, the divine spirit. God is from the beginning, he existed from of old and was when nothing else had being. He existed when nothing else existed, and what exists he created after he had come into being. He is the Father of beginnings. God is the Eternal One, he is eternal and infinite and endures forever and ever. God is hidden and no man knows his form. No man has been able to seek out his likeness. He is hidden to gods and to men, he is a mystery to his creatures. No man knows how to know him. His name remains hidden, his name is a mystery to his children. His names are innumerable, they are manifold and none knows their number. God is truth and he lives by truth and feeds thereon. He is the King of truth and he has established the earth thereon. He gives life to man, he breathes the breath of life into his nostrils. God is Father and Mother, the Father of fathers and the Mother of mothers. He begets but never was begotten. He produces but was never produced. He begot himself and produced himself. He creates but was never created. He is the maker of his own form and the fashioner of his own body. God himself is existence, he endures without increase or diminution. He multiplies himself millions of times and he is manifold in form and in members. God made the universe, he created all that is in it. He is the creator of what is in the world, of what was, of what is, and of what shall be. He is the creator of the heavens and of the earth, of the deep, of the waters, and of the mountains. God stretched out the heavens and founded the earth. What his heart conceived straightway came to pass, and when he has spoken it comes to pass and endures forever. God is the Father of the gods, he fashioned men and formed the gods. God is merciful unto those who reverence him, and he hears him that calls upon him. God knows him that acknowledges him. He rewards him that serves him, and protects him that follows him. Wow, don't you feel you know our Creator better now? Let's progress further. Look at this from the Hermetics. The Lord and Maker of all things, whom we call rightly God, when from himself he made the second God, the visible and sensible, I call him sensible not that he had sensation in himself, but that he is the object of the senses of those who see, when then he made him first, but second to himself, and that he seemed to him most fair, as one filled to the full with goodness of all things, he fell in love with him as being part of his divinity. Accordingly, in that he was so mighty and so fair, he willed that someone else should have the power to contemplate the one he had made from himself. And thereon he made man, the imitator of his reason and his love. And so, when he perceived that the essential man could not be a lover of all things, unless he clothed him in a cosmic body, he shut him in within a house of body, and ordered it that all men should be so, from either nature making him a single blend and fair proportioned mixture. Therefore he has made man of soul and body, that is, of an eternal and immortal nature, so that an animal thus blended can contemplate his dual origin, admire and worship things in heaven, and cultivate and govern things on earth. Now, there is one more document we need to read to fully understand who our Cocoon manager is. Let's look at the 6th book of the Hermetics. Pay attention to this phrase as we read, he will always love you. Book 6. Hermes to Asclepius. The supreme good, O Asclepius, is not in anything, if not in God alone, rather, the supreme good is always God himself. If this is so, it is the real nature of all movement and of all generation. Nothing is deprived of this real nature which has an energy that brings things to rest round itself. It is not in want and has no excess, it is completely full and supplies all needs, it is in the beginning of all things. For in saying that the provider of everything is good, I am saying that it is always good in every way. This supreme good belongs to nothing else but to God alone. For he lacks nothing, or has any desire to possess anything that may render him evil, nor can anything be lost to him which would make him grieve, for grief is the heritage of evil. No being is mightier than God, by whom he could be treated as an enemy, nor is it possible for him to suffer any injustice by anyone, and therefore he will love everyone. No being is disobedient to him which would provoke his anger, nor is any being wiser which would provoke his jealousy. Since none of these afflictions belong to being, what is left but the supreme good alone? For just as none of them belong to being, so this good will not be found in any of these afflictions. But all these other afflictions exist in every being, in the small and in the great, in individual creatures and in that living being himself, which is greater and more powerful than all beings and all things. What is born is full of suffering, for birth itself is suffering, and when there is suffering the supreme good is never there, and when this good is there, there is no suffering at all. We will stop the first part right here. This is the first part number 1.